Hi friends, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is our program, I Believe, where we are learning all the basic beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Today, we are talking about the Lord's Supper. I think I've also heard it called communion.
Yes, communion means sharing or close friendship, and during this service, we become closer to Jesus and other Christian friends. But do you know when Jesus started the communion ceremony?
I remember it was right before Jesus died at the last meal he shared with his disciples. Our pastor always reads the story right before we take communion.
That's right. And at this Last Supper, Jesus and the disciples were celebrating the Passover feast, which was a Jewish holiday that reminded people of their escape from Egypt. During this feast, they sacrificed a lamb and ate it with unleavened bread. The sacrifice was to be a reminder of the coming Messiah,
which was actually Jesus.
Jesus knew that after his death on the cross, this reminder would no longer be needed, but his disciples would need a way to remember that Jesus, the real Passover lamb, had given his life for them and the sins of the world. But first, he had to get them to have the right attitude.
What do you mean? Did the disciples also have attitude problems like people do now?
They thought Jesus was going to become king in all Jerusalem, and they all wanted to have the highest position in this kingdom. Jesus wanted to show them about humility.
That means being humble, right? So what did he do?
Well, in those days, people used sandals and walked a lot, so their feet got really dirty. A servant would usually help to wash people's feet when they arrived at a house.
I don't think I would want that job.
And neither did any of the disciples. They were too proud for such a lowly job. So Jesus himself took the basin and the towel and washed their feet.
Even though he was their master and king of the universe, that was a great lesson. They needed to be humble like Jesus.
And when they sat down to eat, the disciples and Jesus ate the unleavened bread and drank the grape juice, which was called wine back then.
That's when he told them that the bread represented his body and the wine represented his blood.
Yes, he wanted them to remember his sacrifice for them. Of course, the disciples would not have understood the symbols until after Jesus died on the cross.
And he used really common things. I mean, they ate bread and drank grape juice all the time probably. So they would always remember Jesus.
And that's what our sentence and scripture songs talk about today. What do I believe about the Lord's Supper, which is also called communion?
I believe the Lord invites us to celebrate Holy Communion. By doing this, we consecrate our lives in sacred union. We wash each other's feet to show we want to serve mankind. The bread and juice represent his body and his blood and help us know his love is yours and mine.